All right, so it is I think it's Tuesday, the 12th or 13th, or losing track of my days. So, one of the things that I'm spending some time doing is kind of marking the condition of all these animals. We're kind of past the post putting the rams in a burst where they all act a little crazy and everyone's kind of calmed down. I know I saw the rams mate quite a number of the ewes, and they'll catch anybody coming back into heat as they come. But the weather this early winter has been really odd. So it's about 38 degrees today. It's going to get up to 40, but then it's going to be plunging down to 9 during the day, and in the negatives at night. And that up and down and up and down is harder on these animals than just about anything. So what I'm kind of keeping an eye on is I'm looking at their eyes and their nose, their tails, kind of how full they look. And they have full access to all of these trees so that if they need to get away, they can get away. But so far as I've come out here in the mornings, they've kind of just been walking through the field, I don't know, picking at what they want, and then when I open up the hay, they come and get it. But this is something that I am watching very closely. I'll be spending more time, sorry, I'm trying to keep you out of the wind, more time than usual monitoring the animals, because so far they seem disinclined, I guess, not reluctant, but disinclined to use the trees for shelter. It's also been on a set of mild days, so as we go down into the negatives below zeros, we'll see where they end up in the morning when I come out to greet them. But so far, they all look relatively good. If you made me guess just from watching the mating, and I filmed some of it on the first day I put them in, I'd say we were about 2/3 done already, and they're just, and that's just what I saw, so they could be further along, with the younger ram getting like a handful and then the older ram doing the majority of the work. And things have calmed down substantially, I would say, since then, which is a good sign. So I'm going to slowly be reintroducing the dogs. I'm going to put the adult dog out first. And this is a mistake I made, and I did not get it on camera. I think I added too much change at one time. But I'm going to go over and visit the dog, and I'll talk about what I'm talking, this amount of change that these animals can sustain before their fight or flight instincts kick in. Before I head over to the dogs, pardon me, I want to give you an idea of like the residual, I guess, hay residue I'm leaving behind. It looks like it's, I would say, I don't know, you can see the snow through it. There's some thicker parts that I should probably spread out, but it's really nothing that's going to choke out grass. But I just can't wait to see what this looks like, as this makes a significant difference. I mean, look at all this manure. I love listening to Greg Judy. He says manure, but they uses all this sheep and cattle manure and all the carbon from the leftover hay. I just feel like I'm gonna look out in this field and see this weird green paintbrush put out across this field. And I didn't do a perfect job, but there's a strip here where my seeder, when I was seeding this field, I missed it. I don't know. And so there's quite a bit of weeds, and that's the stuff that's standing up taller right here. And so I'm hoping all this extra impact and manure and hay and all the hay seed that comes with it. I mean, here, look at all this seed that's in this hay. And I know most people don't think that's very good in hay, but I love it. But I'm just, this year is one giant experiment. I know people that I trust and believe have expertise swear by this, but there's something about seeing it with your own eyes, and that's what we're going to monitor. Like this right here, I probably have to fork this out. That's way too thick. But we're just going to monitor as we are spreading over this weedy patch of the field how this all goes. And all of those bales are going to get unrolled. So this residue right here is from 2 bales of hay. And so we have, I don't know, 20 some over here, and I have some at the house I got to bring out here yet. And it'll be really interesting to see how this all shakes out next year. So I'm hiding behind a hay bale with the dogs right now. Okay, I gotta stand up. These guys are being crazy. Okay, fellas. The puppies are just excited, and even Puppers came up for a pet. Didn't you, Puppers? Huh? They all got their GPS collars on because I wanted, if they were going to run. All right, the pup knocked the phone out of my hand, so we'll try that again. But anyhow, they're very nice dogs. They're just a little too excitable, and those sheep had a little too much going on. And this goes back to what I was talking about, the limiting the change you put on the animals. So for the summer, I put these puppies in the first month or so in with the ewes, and then after that I put them in with the rams as they were getting bigger, because the rams would put them in their spot. And you know, that might have been a mistake, because not that these dogs were being aggressive with the ewes, but they were being puppies and zipping around. They weren't chasing them or jumping on them, but they were just zipping around, and those ewes had too much change that day. I moved them. We did a drive across the field. Get down. We did a drive against the field, and then they all of a sudden they had these 2 big fellas, you know, trying to mate with them. And then on top of that, I put in 3 dogs, and the old dog just kind of started doing a patrol, but these 2 just started running in circles. Puppers. And so it was just a little bit too much of them, and they scattered like seeds on the wind. And I ended up having to spend a couple of hours pulling them all back together. And so I took out this old electronet for now, and I put it around this pile of hay bales here so that the dogs have shelter from the wind, and the sheep can come up to them. And I have seen some hoof marks around, so they've been coming and checking them out. But everyone can just get used to each other without too much stress. And if you look at these dogs were born in June. They're look how big they are. I mean, really, just look how big they are. Look, that's the adult dog. These puppies are gigantic. And so, anyhow, get down. Bob, get down. And so I'm going to be bringing out a little more electronet and giving these guys a little more room to run today. I took the day off from work to get some chores done, and then we're just going to slowly introduce them back into the flock. And then moving forward, I'm always going to leave at least 1 dog with every set of animals, so we don't have that stress of reintroduction. She is just a beast. She's 5 months old, almost 6 months old, and bigger than that big. That's a Pyrenees and Marama mix. And look at this pup. She's a purebred Marama, but she's a monster. And they're all so friendly, but they're just puppies, and I needed to do a better job kind of guarding against that excitableness that puppies just have on their own. And you can see they were super excited when I came in, and now that I've been in here for a few minutes talking, they're just off doing their own thing. And that's what I need to ease the sheep back into. And that was that was my mistake. Is just not being, come here, Puppers. Hey, Shep. It's just not being smart and thinking it through. But anyway, that's all. So we had a hell of a night. There's a little bit of snow here, but there's what am I trying to say? There's a nice crust of ice on everything in this area. We had freezing rain all night last night. I was kind of actually worried that the power might go out, but we lucked out and it didn't. But when I came, I brought this kind of half broken bale from my front yard, because before I kind of break into the whole bales with it, so I brought that with my tractor up there. And it was fascinating. So I went to find the animals, and they were, I don't know if you can see that evergreen tree. I think it's a cedar tree in the middle of those woods. The sheep were in a circle facing outwards. So they put their bums to the tree trunk and they were all just huddled up, and the cattle were laying down right next to them. And I was pleased to see that there's no coughing. There's no, cold, wet, listless, lifeless. And everyone's looking up and at them. And it's like some of the nastiest weather we've had, because it's, I don't know, it's like 35 degrees. It rained all night and then it froze. And now it warmed back up again, so it's wet. And then tonight it's going to plunge down below, and we're going to get a ton of snow. And then by Friday, it's going to be 0. So I'm just taking very careful, I'm taking time to be careful and really watch all the sheep and check them for signs of stress. And this bale is really nice. I'll get a little closer, but I just want you to see how green it is inside the bale. I think it was my brother was asking about how crusty they look on the outside, and they do, but this is what they look like on the inside. It was baled by Doug just about perfectly. I mean, I think it is perfect, to be honest, but I gave them a little extra today. That's kind of my rule of thumb is when it's extremely cold or the weather is really poor, I will give them extras, because I'm trying to reduce the amount of stress that all these animals are feeling. And you can see they look like they're not hurting. I probably gave them too much, but it was just this really old broken bale, and I just kind of spread it all out because it wasn't going to stay put anyhow. But anyway, everyone's looking good, but we have some challenging weather ahead of us. Freezing rain for a whole day yesterday, then we have snow, and then the temperature hits the deck. I think it's Friday, it's going to be like -10 overnight. So it's just farming in Minnesota. It's one of the main challenges is how do you meter out feed? How do you monitor condition? How do you manage for these temperature swings? All during breeding season. So we want these girls to be giving us twins and, maybe triplets. And, we don't mind singles, but the idea is we want them to feel like they're in peak condition so we can get the most lambs out of this group as possible as we continue to grow our flock and do the things we want to expand our farm business. So our tentative plan for our farm is we're going to cycle out our rams and sell them, and we're going to pick out our 2 best ram lambs at about 2 months old, and that'll just be a judgment call by me, I guess, and Ann. And then we'll sell their mothers too, so we don't have bad breed back. And then from there we're going to keep every single ewe lamb we get this year, and if we're lucky we'll get 30 or 40 ewes, and we'll really spring this flock forward. I really like this. This is my daughter's remaining lamb, ewe. I watched her get bred, so that's exciting. But she's a really pretty color, and I wish the people who I bought her from for my daughter hadn't docked her tail, though. I don't really care for that too much. It doesn't seem necessary. With good management, they don't have any fly trouble, in my opinion. But anyhow, everyone's looking woolly and happy, and I don't think we have any issues here. All right, signing out. Well, it's the next day, and I don't know if you can tell, it's snowing cats and dogs right now. But I come out here kind of expecting to see all the animals up in the trees, and the cattle, I don't know if you can see them, those black spots, they're laying out in the snow over there, and the sheep are laying out in the field over here. So I don't think they're hurting. They have access to trees over here, trees up there, and then they have access to trees back there. And in any of those cases, they are telling me they're fine. Here, I'll zoom in. They're just laying down, enjoying the snow. So we're gonna unroll some hay, and unfortunately, I can't do that with one hand. I need both hands to drive everything. We're gonna unroll some hay for them and push the cattle over here. We're not gonna unroll too much because it's snowing so much that it might get covered up before they can eat it, and I don't want to waste a ton of hay. But as you can see, they are not having a bad time. So we continue to battle the weather. So we went from cold to freezing rain and muck to, and we're going to get snow for about 2 days, and then it's going to drop down to around 0 and in the negatives at night. So we're going to continue to just monitor all of our animals and make sure that they are doing well. All right. So I'm trying something a little different here. Instead of unrolling the hay, and forgive me, I was pushing around a 1,000-pound bale trying to unpeel it a little. Because it's snowing so heavy and we're going to get several inches, and I'm trying to meter out my hay, I've resolved to just throw out a little hay this morning, and the cattle are still up there. They don't care. And the idea here is they can probably get through this and eat this without very much waste before it gets buried by the snow, because we're going to have snow for at least through tomorrow. And today is Thursday. And so I'm just going to slowly meter out the hay, and I've resolved to just come out here a few times a day and give them a little more. But this is right here is the worst part of this field, is where I have all these bales lined up, and you can see where I came in and mowed down all these thistles and weeds, and there was not, I think I ran out of grass seed and I didn't notice. Is honestly, like, it's a rookie move. But anyway, I'm kind of just unpeeling a bale by hand. And look at how green this bale is and how full of good stuff it is. I mean, Doug did just a bang-up job here. I stuck my nose in it. It smells like it did probably when they cut the hay. Sweet and dry. And anyway, I'm just going to do this during the snow and see how I like it. I am just concerned that if I unroll it, a lot of it will end up getting buried by the snow, because it's just going to be coming down like gangbusters for the next day or so. The dogs are doing fine. They're just laying out in the snow. The sheep are doing fine. You can see some of them here, like here. Some of them are harder to see, but you see how she has snow on her back? That means this is a fat ewe, all right? And some of the other ones do too. But it's like 31, 32, right on the edge of snowing today. And it's going to continue to drop down, so it'll stay snowing. But I mean, these animals look so healthy, and I'm just amazed by how big some of the ewe lambs are relative to their mothers. But some are smaller, like this one right here. Here, let me zoom back out. This one right here is quite small, but she was probably one. I had to go check her tag. She was probably one of our later born ones, or one I bought in. The ones that she is one I bought in. Like this one right here. That's let's see, let's find her. Right behind her with her head down, that's her mom. Look how big she is. These are all first year ewes. Obviously that's the ram, he's gigantic. But I've noticed that my sheep just continue to have increasing vitality. Like every year they seem to get sturdier as I select and cull. And I have more sheep now, which means I can be choosier. And so yeah, it's what I've been talking about over this series of videos I've shot. I'm just looking at their condition. I'm probably going to go push up the cows. I don't think they know that there's hay down here. I don't know. I never quite know how much they can see or not see. Sometimes they are strangely like eagle-eyed, and other times it's like they don't see what's right in front of them. But all right, we're going to push up, and then I got to get back into work. Yes, I have a job. I don't get to just wander out here all day. I figure I got some driveway plowing in my future, and yeah, it's Minnesota winter. It's a little bit of everything, but I mean, look out in that distance. It sure is beautiful out here, huh? Look at the trees; they're frosted with snow. It's amazing, this life we get to have. All right, well, I'm getting too philosophical. All right, have a good day.